No, I'm busy tonight, actually.
Good afternoon, my little so hot maniacs. I am Pete, and with me as always is...
I'm Chris.
And back there on Riot Control...
Eusafio, the most lover of women.
You're a lying piece of shit, Mean
Fucking
Gene. For today, you're Mean Gene. Okay.
Mean Gene.
Okay. So, welcome to the Jerry Hotpants Club podcast. Today, after you hit that like, subscribe button, share this shit with people you know. And even if you're tuning in to hate on us, share us even more. Be like, look at these fucking idiots.
I would love that more than if you liked me.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want you to like us. We want you to hate us.
Yeah.
Anyway, so gonna just preface with something real quick. I've slipped a little bit. Been smoking the vape again. I can't help it right now. I'm not gonna sit here and justify it. It's what I'm doing, and I'm grateful for everybody just showing some concern and gobbledygook. But today...
We are going to try to top 50 dick jokes in 45 minutes.
We're not doing any dick jokes today.
Good
All
luck.
right, I'm ready.
Yusuf, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to not say a fucking thing about dicks or buttholes or any of that stuff. If, by the end of the episode, you have completed this entire 40-minute stretch without saying anything about your dick or my dick, or especially Chris's, even the dog's, I will give you $5 in a mayonnaise sandwich.
There's absolutely
You failed
no
right
way.
there.
That's not saying anything in
You
regards to...
failed right there,
What?
because that's what you do with dicks.
What
All
are you
right,
doing?
Chris.
There is no way that dick cannot go 45 minutes without saying something.
Hey, Amanda. She's not going to come on camera probably, right? No. Okay, well, will you throw me my vape? Well, we hand it to Yusuf, and Yusuf will throw it to me.
You can sit in the chair.
Yeah, you'll be off screen. Don't worry about it.
The patchouli will not be, though. Careful.
Don't worry, nothing was damaged. This breeze tastes like red balls. That's what I got.
Did you get pulled out? I'm sorry. Oh, shit.
Do we got to start over?
No, it should be fine.
No. Good job, Helix. Right?
He got a little excited.
Well, that's fine. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the travesty that is...
Oh, Peter Soha.
No.
Very sad indeed.
You know what's really sad? Honestly, what's really sad is that my whole life I survived fucking heroin and terrible people, and now I call you two friends.
The world is a weird place. Works in mysterious ways.
Terrifying.
Moving up in life.
Hells yeah.
Oh, so that's what you call this? Moving up in life?
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's sad. If this is you've moved up.
We have yet to pawn any of this equipment.
Right, I'm looking at about fucking 4 bottles of Vicodin right here. So, Chris, what are we talking about today?
Right, we are going to specifically talk about the Chinese Communist Party.
Oh.
If you hear us refer to China, know that we are talking about the Chinese Communist Party and not the Chinese people.
Yes. So, why don't you give us a little background, Chris, on the Chinese Communist Party?
It's where everything I currently have on is made.
Hell yeah, thank you, China.
Yeah.
All this equipment.
Oh, okay. But more...
I don't know.
Well...
I don't know.
You think this vape was made over there?
Probably.
That's scary to think of.
By slaves or people in sweatshops.
God bless them for making these vapes.
What did I tell you?
Somebody had to make our stuff, right?
So everyone has... For years and years and years, everyone's always heard about the sweatshops, right?
Yes.
The sweatshops. And then there's just blatant slavery going on in China.
Right.
As well. They currently have concentration camps. Yeah, those kind of concentration camps for a Muslim minority group called Uyghurs. Can someone spell Uyghurs? U-I some shit? And it's a Muslim minority group that they do not like in China. They keep them in these
Muslims,
camps.
you say?
Yeah, so I think I think religion is outlawed in China, isn't it? Then they...
I believe that it is. No Christianity, no nothing.
Yeah, no.
You have to worship the state, right?
Yes.
And China's for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. See, China actually isn't really China. Just like Mexico isn't really China. Mexico is just a bunch of gangs warring, and it's not. And there's some kind of central government that kind of maybe is. No, they're just corrupt. They just get bought off or killed. China's kind of the same way. So for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, you can look back at how they've fought each other, and they've tried to come to one cohesive state ruled by, one leadership faction. And the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, after 5,000 years, has managed to finally do it. They've finally taken control. So a small minority called the CCP has taken control through military and technological means, and the big secret is if you don't like it, you'll starve. So there's not enough meat in the world to feed everyone. China wouldn't mind losing some people if they could. They can't keep up.
In regards to religion, China is officially an atheist state, and Communist Party members are banned from believing in or practicing any faith. There is concern that religion can function as an alternative to communism and thus undermine loyalty to the government.
Right, yeah. No
Did
free
you know that China has pretty much, from the last I heard, they want a zero number of COVID cases. So what they did is they literally locked up everybody in their houses. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are starving to death and losing their minds.
Right, that's in Shanghai right now, right?
And they're just okay with it, just to bring the numbers down to zero. Like you said, they're okay with losing some numbers.
Oh yeah, and they have willingly sacrificed. Now, you were saying how many people have been disappeared under that regime's control there?
Oh, disappeared? I don't know, but when the CCP came into power, around World War II.
Was it right before or after? Because I know that they kicked Chiang Kai-shek out of there.
Well, Mao started to come in right there at World War II, and then they killed 50 million people. That's the same thing that happened in Russia when communism took over.
Yeah.
With Lenin, you have to kill 50 million people because you have to crush dissent, and then everyone else is just like, shit, I ain't trying to be 51, like
right.
50 million and one. See ya. Yeah, whatever you say.
Line.
So this has been going on there for the better part of over half a century, correct?
Yeah, like 75 years now since World War II.
And so these controlled camps, which are known as concentration camps,
camps.
Yes. Now these camps, they are doing human trials on. What are they doing there?
God only knows, but it's probably worse than the Nazis could ever dream of.
Because technology has jumped leaps and bounds since then.
Yeah, they farm out organs. So there's organ tourism. If you're rich and you need an organ,
like a kidney, let's say, or a lung transplant.
And they like the Muslims being the donors because they eat halal and they don't believe in like hair color, so they stay really natural, organic.
Say what?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm gonna have to go eat some ham and things. I don't want anybody farming my amazing.
Weren't you the one that said the other day on the show you were gonna butt fuck bacon?
Maybe I'm safe.
Yeah, doubt it. Anyway, continue.
All right, so they're evil bastards. They have no God. They have no morals. They only want money, power, sex, maybe drugs, stuff like that. And
okay, explain to me how Hong Kong is in. So Hong Kong was under British rule for
a long time. So Hong Kong again, China is not China. China is a fake country. What you think of China is actually just a small minority of people called the CCP who have taken over all these people's lives. Hong Kong was a free state, and it was set up in a treaty for it to kind of do its own thing, and then it would always be separate from CCP control. Well, China reneged on that a couple years ago, invaded, and has taken it over. Now they want to do the same thing with Taiwan. And they've taken control of the banks. They've taken control of the cops. They've taken control of just everyday life. You can't go in. They have the social credit score system where basically you walk out of your house and you just can hail Uber, whatever the hell they're called over there, by saying Uber when you walk out of your house, and microphones pick it up. But also, your face is recorded. And if you don't do what the state says you're supposed to do, like maybe you worship Christ, or maybe you, throw a piece of trash on the ground, your social credit score will get knocked down, and social credit score can get knocked down so far that your bank card won't work. You can't travel, you can't do things. Eventually you'll get thrown in jail.
That is a scary, scary sci-fi movie right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so you just described.
That's what they're doing in Shanghai right now with the lockdowns.
So there's this sense of everybody overseas or everybody in these countries far away from here. We have this interpretation of them based upon what our media tells us, and our media is not necessarily state controlled yet. But over there where it is, it's kind of the same thing. So we are painted in a very different light than the way the media paints us here. Obviously, there's omissions that come through your Fox News, your CNN, your MSNBC, the Associated Press in general, right? There's omissions or redactions that we aren't going to say that right now in the world there is a gigantic fucking country of people where there are concentration camps, because that would mean, that we did it once before, we stopped the Nazis, and if we're allowing it to continue again, we ought to go get involved. But I believe once upon a time, and the number might be different, they have 1 million man standing army at all times.
Where I don't know. It's probably bigger than that.
It's got to be bigger than that.
Another thing that they've done that's concerning is the South China Sea. There's trillions of dollars worth of trade that goes through the South China Sea. I don't prefer to call it the South China Sea. I prefer to call it the South of China Sea. What?
I think it's when you come back like that, it starts picking up the.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry.
There it is.
So I prefer to call it the South of China Sea because it's some water that's south of China. It's not China Sea. But what they've done is they've made artificial islands and militarized them. So there's satellite images of submarines and then runways. And so China's saying that, we made these artificial islands. And if you look on the map right there, you can kind of see where it would be right there south of China. They've made artificial islands and militarized them so that the trade that goes through, China's trying to claim, maritime laws 200 nautical miles away. They're trying to say, well, this is now mainland China, but it's not. It's a facade. And they know that if there was a war, the first thing that would happen, those would get wiped off. And they're kind of fool's gold if you were to knock them out. They try to say there was an act of war, just like Russia uses Kaliningrad the same way on the Baltic.
Yeah.
They get knocked out. It's a tiny little outpost. Another thing they do is called the String of Pearls. And they basically have maritime routes going down around through the Indian Ocean down there. So they go down the South of China Sea and then around into India. And they're trying to make spots for trade where they're going to basically it's the nautical version of the Silk Road. So they're trying to build a belt system, a highway from China, from the ocean all the way prior to Portugal. I don't know how far, and it runs through Moscow as well. And don't be fooled that Moscow isn't using China as basically its attack dog to take over the world. Russia often talks about their sphere of influence, and the communists are all in cahoots. Like, don't believe them if they say they're not together. What else are they doing? Well, what else do I need? Oh, here's a big one. So another thing they do is they put out bad loans. So they go to places in like Africa, and they go to these poor nations that are underdeveloped, right? And what they'll do is they'll build a bridge, right, or build a dam. Not really like a school or a hospital or anything. Like they'll build like a highway system or something like that, somewhere where they can get like natural resources, rare earth minerals or something like that, right? But they give out, billions of dollars worth of loans to these undeveloped. They know the loans are going to go bad, so they're intending on the loans going bad. Then when the loans go bad, they take that territory. So this is something they've been doing for a long time. And they're going to try to claim that this is sovereign land, that this is China now, and they're doing it all over Africa. They're doing it in poor nations, and they're writing predatory loans to people they know aren't going to be able to pay it back, and they're building infrastructure there. And then when they don't pay back the loans, or maybe something happens with the currency, how they manipulate the currencies, they'll never be able to pay it back, and then they're taking over the land and saying it's China. Is what they're doing. So they're doing all kinds of things where they're attacking basically that whole side of the globe, trying to take it over is what their plan is. And they'd like to take over Africa. You know, they've made friends with the Taliban, and they're trying to go in there and get rare earth minerals. And then they do shit like make fentanyl and send it through Mexico. And, you know, they send Mexico all the chemicals they need to make the fentanyl to come in here and kill Americans. Like, these are really, really bad people. This is the war that we've been losing since the end of World War II. Kissinger and his buddies thought that they needed to send a bunch of our jobs over to China, and did.
So, yeah, why is everything that we have here made in China? Why are the items we have not made anywhere else?
Slave labor.
Because of what? Well, aside from that, because of what
Kissinger started it.
So
when Nixon said he was going to go to China, right? That he reopened diplomatic relations, which I believe after the communists took over is when they were severed. So he went in there and basically opened up the trade route. In doing so, with the sheer amount of forced labor that they have, they can produce a product quickly that is, shelf soluble. They can stay. It has enough keeping power, and they can produce massive amounts at a cheaper price. Because look at the labor. It's slave fucking labor. So I can sell you a pair of Air Jordans over here for $120, right? And it costs them literally the materials, and then the shipping. You're $23. It's $100 fucking profit.
that's just bananas to me that we introduced democracy to other countries, but then these countries were just like, yeah, but they make my shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they make my shoes. Yeah, I like paying $10 for my shirt.
Well, the central banks love China because they make shit tons of money there.
I mean, I can imagine from like when you're sitting here stating all these points, I'm like, these motherfuckers are genius. It's genius.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
They're using the money. So places like Hollywood, organizations like the NBA,
infiltrating everything.
Well, you make a lot of money on the 330 million Americans that watch your movie, but if you can send it over to China where you got like 1.2 billion that could watch your movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you're making Google's
and they have
money.
to censor, like we talked about this, they got to censor the fuck out of movies they send over there.
Yeah.
They got to take black folk out. You can't have, anything.
Can't have a Taiwan flag. Because
Nope.
Taiwan doesn't exist to China. China says Taiwan is China.
Yeah. So
Damn, that's bananas. That reminds me of somewhere that they claim doesn't exist.
Okay, we're not even touching that one. I know what you're talking about, right? Right.
One of the hardest parts.
And
Parts is that there is so much money. I mean, when you look at their cities, these cities they're referred to as mega cities. So the cities, like you think of big
like
cities,
Judge Dredd, right?
Right. You think of the cities in America, like you think of like New York. There's
I am the law.
10 New Yorks. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Holy
many people.
Shit.
Yeah, and you get it's the same way like you put up an advertisement in Times Square, however many thousands of people see it, you got like 10 Times Squares, right? Where you put it up and you can advertise to 10 times as many people.
So it's like you're advertising to like a quarter of the world right there.
Yeah.
So to say, holy shit.
Right. And we've just handed them,
all this power.
the keys to the castle.
It's crazy to me to think about the fact that it's 2022, right? And this shit still goes on. We're taught in school, right, that our grandparents went and fought the big bad Nazis, and that was the end of it. Until they teach you the Korean War, which ended at a tie, right, at the same parallel between North and South Korea,
Right.
And then there's Vietnam.
That was a quagmire.
Yeah, as well. We lost lost lives over there.
The
That's all
only
we
way
did.
we won was by leaving, right?
Exactly.
But we were fighting communism, the spread of communism in both those wars.
And then what? And then we get to the 80s and we get to Afghanistan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Soviets invade Afghanistan, and we don't put any troops over there, right? We just send them
the proxy war, continue the proxy wars.
We send them ammunition, we send them money, and in turn they turn around and use it on us 20 years later.
Well,
You know,
20 years later, we can drop fucking bombs from space on you.
There's people I'd like to drop bombs on from space today.
Yeah.
In particular,
The Kremlin.
in particular, well, yeah, okay, we could. I heard somewhere that there was a legitimate source from inside the Kremlin that says, "Good old Vladimir he has cancer."
Yeah, that's what I'd say too if I was at war with the world. I'd tell him that I was going to die tomorrow. That'd be great news. I'd put out all kinds of disinformation if I was at war with everybody too.
Vladimir was born with 4 penises. You can't say anything, remember? Just think about that mayonnaise sandwich.
Vladimir's a G, bro.
He's a G?
He's a G, man. That guy's constantly making moves.
Richest man in the world.
I thought it was E. Dingus.
That's
Elon.
just like publicly richest man in the world.
Oh, on paper, right?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. All this shit's fake.
So, and the reason I mentioned that it's crazy that here we are all these years later, it's been 80 years since World War II.
Right.
And, a majority of the world is mobilized against one country in Europe that was, they signed. It's crazy to think of how barbaric in comparison to today warfare was then, and yet we still got to, trog through the mud and fight wars based on the ideals of a few, really, when you think about it.
There was a mistake made at the end of World War II.
Which was?
Well, General Patton wanted to go all the way to Moscow.
Yes, he did. And they censored the shit out of him.
They said, no, we're not going. And he said, if we don't go, we're going to be fighting these Russian bastards forever.
And those were his exact
General
words,
Patton
too.
was exactly right. So after the war, Russia came, we came, and we beat the Nazis together. I would push back against that and say Russia won, we won, but we didn't win together. Russia took what they wanted. They got rid of the Nazis and their sphere of influence, and now they made friends with China or control China, and they don't have anything pushing back against them. The only thing that's pushing back against them is the United States.
Yeah.
Europe, being socialist as hell with the European Union, and famously Germany's like dependent on Russian gas now. Trump was bitching at them about it at a summit years ago, and they've only grown more and more dependent on Russian gas. And if Russia shuts off your pipeline and you don't have energy to run your country, like, what do you do now? You're completely dependent. And they pay NATO. They pay us to defend them from Russia, but they buy in Russian gas. Like, they're paying Putin, but they're paying us to defend them. Like, it doesn't make any sense. These people.
That's all a byproduct of what happened at the end of World War II when they split Berlin in two. And it's been this jockeying for control ever since. And then in 90, or 89, when the wall came down, 89, 90, when the wall came down, we were all kind of celebrating because that was basically the death knell of the Soviet Union, so we think.
Well, they fake. Well, I shouldn't. It's common knowledge in the circles that I run in that they faked the Soviet Union ending. It's just easier to. You look at it now, and Russia has more control over some of those areas. Yeah, maybe the Baltics have defined borders right now, but they're completely at the whim of whatever Russia wants to do. Like, Russia can just go into Ukraine. Russia can just go into Ukraine, and no one stops them. Russia could just, if they go into the Baltics, would NATO fight back? Sure, NATO would fight back, but Russia's not going into the Baltics. They went into Ukraine. We did have some of the Scandinavian countries recently join NATO, which says a lot because we put F-35s on Moscow's doorstep. But, Russia knows what it can get away with and what it can't get away with. I just wouldn't be surprised to see China used as, leverage against countries financially, like they're doing in Hollywood and like they're doing in Africa, and it's funny what's going to happen with the Quad. So some of the countries, like, we got our friends over there. We got Australia, we got Japan, we got Korea, we got the Philippines, right, that are kind of on our side, and we got India, right, who's a giant democracy. with their caste system, they're still a giant democracy, but they're not under communist control like the stands would be. They're still operating their own country. And if India were to fall, it would be terrible. But I think India looks like they're going to be okay. And they've been at kind of odds with China a little bit. There's been some tensions on their border militarily. And it doesn't look like India's going to do anything stupid. They're not going to provoke anyone into a war. They're trying to just maintain their own country. Some of those other countries in there, like Vietnam, are starting to get some of the jobs from China. Some of our countries are starting to take jobs out of China and put them into Vietnam and those countries, into Indonesia and things like that. We could do a lot without China. We could completely decouple from China. We just can't do it overnight because we still need to produce shoes. Holler at Phil Knight. Shoe Dog.
Okay,
Isn't that his book, Shoe Dog? Some shit like that.
So we blindly accept this evil just so that we can pay less for shoes and shirts.
Just because the media doesn't report it. Like I said, the media's fake. The media doesn't report what it should be reporting.
Even the media not reporting it. People know. They know. When we look at our stuff,
you get the culture war thrown in your face when you turn on the TV. You get left versus right. You don't get like bombarded. Okay, you'll get bombarded you'll get next election cycle. You're going to get bombarded with BLM like every fucking day, right?
Situation
but you're not
China?
Getting bombarded with there's slaves in fucking China like every day. Like shouldn't that be like the number one issue? There's slaves in China and it's like government backed.
But that's like how genius are all these moves that they've been running that they're So like for instance, the game guerrilla warfare changed now to just playing with people from behind from the shadows, right? So like could it be that maybe this is them that's dividing us?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Holy hell, have we ever been this divided?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah.
I never ever remember
all the communists together. Yeah.
We were never this divided.
I'm like left and right, and I'm like, what? Left and right, until the last couple years, and now I'm like,
the division in this country. The division in this country comes from the total end of both sides. He's going to pee every episode, so you know what? I'm going to pull it back. Yeah, I'm going to pull back on my. You can go ahead and talk about dicks, Yusuf. Go ahead. I'll still give you the mayonnaise sandwich.
I just want to talk about this dick I seen today. I seen a hella dick. I seen it all the way. I saw some dicks. It made me want to play. I saw some dicks.
So, what we're going to talk about from here on out, I would like to bring up is kind of like how can we... The news does report... Hold on, I'll bring you back up. Don't talk about dicks. Can you do that? Give me the okay. Are you going to talk about dicks?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right. So, because you bring up a valid point, let's say early 2000s, there was Ken Starr, right, showing up to Congress dressed like Darth Vader, trying to impeach Bill Clinton, right?
I don't recall this.
They were trying to impeach Bill Clinton because he got a blowjob, right?
I hit myself in the. That's funny.
Yeah, it is. That's probably the funniest thing that's happened all day. So they were trying to impeach Bill Clinton for a blowjob, then they were trying to impeach Trump for being a Russian asset. Both things that are.
I want to talk about that one episode when the communists took over the United States with a Russian spy in 2016. I would love to talk about that for a whole episode.
I'm sure you would.
Yes, run all the fucking stories.
Look at the twinkle in his eye.
Oh yeah, 3 years. The CNN, MSNBC.
Did you go in and do
the New York Times?
Did you go do a blast off?
Just
in the
all a Russian spy took over America in 2016. We need to
go in there and test
run all those stories.
Toilet.
We got to test this piece.
How do these people still have jobs? For 3 years, they all said Trump was a Russian spy, and then they were just like, you know what? He's not a Russian spy. And then they started talking about racism and went to, it just went to BLM and then into fucking an election. Like they just got away with that for 3 years and then just said we were wrong for 3 years.
Anyway,
why do they have? How are they even on TV? How do they have jobs? It's crazy.
Same way that fucking meteorologists have their job. People get things wrong. And you
for 3 years with no evidence, they just kept running their dick suckers. Like, are you serious?
Okay.
They literally every day, all day, for 3 years, every news outlet but Fox News said that Trump was a Russian spy and took over America. And then one day, the New York Times ran an article, and everybody was just like, "Yeah, he's not a Russian spy." And then they fucking were just like, "Black Lives Matter," and then election.
All right.
It was fucking crazy.
We can do a whole episode on that, but I think we need to get back to China. Remember China, the evil place with all those wrongdoers and evildoers?
Slaves.
Slaves. Slaves bad.
Slaves bad. They
Slaves
currently
bad.
have slaves in China.
Many slaves.
They have like 2
Muslim
million
slaves.
2 million Muslim slaves incarcerated in concentration camps. There's photos of the concentration camps.
And we're
There's
just
photos,
over here
videos.
just wearing Nikes and
Right, and no one and everyone just is worried about, Ukraine.
yeah, I don't.
You know what I'm saying?
never
Culture
mind.
war shit. Like, they're just worried about culture war shit. They'll literally turn on what's the culture we're mad about today? What was on the news today? What are they mad about? What are they fake mad about today? It's hot. Oh, it's hot. Oh, climate change today. It's fucking hot. It's summertime, guys.
Today is actually hot. It's crazy hot. I almost died 3 times.
There is
And
a
that
heat
was just
advisory.
pushing out a turd out of my beehole.
All right.
Wow. All right. So, for instance, you ever get in? Do you have any siblings?
Me?
Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a brother.
Wow. I've never heard you say anything about your brother.
Mm-hmm.
You ever get into a fight with your parents, and then when they're addressing the issue, you just go, but my brother does this, and you don't never blah blah blah, and you just pretty much change the topic by.
No, I don't do that, but I wanted to do that, but I don't fight like that.
Have you ever seen siblings do that?
I think it's dry snitching when you do that.
But
Yeah. I see people do it all the time. Yeah,
do it all the time. Right?
I just don't do it. I just don't ever do that. 'Cause
Does
I feel
that
like it's
seem a
dry
little
snitching.
similar to what you were talking about earlier? But let's not go on a crazy tangent again.
That China has slaves?
No. In regards to Trump,
What about it?
how pretty much they just addressed one thing and then it went to, oh, but such and such and such and such. Never mind.
I don't
All
know.
right.
No, I think that everyone that said Trump was a Russian spy should not have a
but-
job. No one should listen to anything those people said.
But are you understanding what I said?
They
How
all literally
these-
ran stories saying it wasn't true after they said it was true for 3 years. Like, it's crazy. Like, how are they still on the TV? Why would you listen to anything those people have to say after 3 years of them straight lying to you with no evidence?
I don't know, buddy. We're wearing $10 shirts and $120 Air Jordans.
Okay, so we're
You know
back
what
to
I'm
China has slaves.
But that's
Pete,
what I'm
what are you
saying.
doing? Help.
Everything is broken, is what I'm trying to say. Everything is broken.
Yeah, everything's broken.
But that's just not exclusive to the United States.
I don't believe that you need
that is
my
a
help. I think you
whole
guys have this all
world
figured out
thing.
without me today.
That is a whole world thing. The world is broken.
There's slaves in more than just China. Other countries have slaves too.
100%. But China's
Human
got
trafficking is a problem.
of course.
It
Yeah.
has been for a very long
Of
time.
course.
Yeah.
Now, my question would be, like I was trying to say earlier, right? There is a definite separation. There's distance created in the country, correct? Here, we'll talk about how there is a bias in the media one way or the other, depending on what outlet you choose. There is no straight reporting on facts in concern to things like concentration camps, right? Now, I used to claim that I was educated on certain worldly matters until today, right? There's a guy, a friend of mine. His name's Wilson. He thinks completely opposite of you as far as politics and other things.
That
And he
guy's
was
an idiot.
and he was in
Fuck you, Wilson.
I like Wilson. Wilson messaged me the other day. I like him.
He's a very
We're
good
friends
guy.
on Facebook.
He's really
Yeah.
good. So he said the same things that you were telling me, and it so like that. There's proof, right, for me right there that two people that are on the opposite side of the fucking fence. You know, the side of the fence Wilson is on, and then the side of the fence Chris is on, and then come together and talk about the same thing being a reality. And I'm sitting here going, it's 2022. We have concentration camps. What the fuck? You know, there's that part in American history during World War II where we had concentration internment camps, as they called them. You know, but what really did happen?
It was jail.
Yeah, just for being
They weren't-
Japanese.
They weren't killing people though.
No,
They
it
were
was not
fucking
bad.
killing people
You know,
in
we
China.
talk about all kinds of shit this country's done wrong. Going back to the minute we signed the Declaration, but it scares the shit out of me that this is like you said, we're doing business with these guys.
Yeah. Shit.
We feel Mulan
Which,
over
by
there.
the way, folks, if it is incredibly hot today. My balls are in a very odd position today. They've been there all day, and it's a sweaty mess down there. So if it's just
I can't
me,
talk, right?
balls and penis are two different things.
This guy can talk about the jambalaya situation he's got going on in his pants, but I can't talk about dicks.
Because I bring up balls maybe once every 4 episodes.
Didn't you talk
bring
about
up
dicks when I
every-
went to the bathroom?
Yeah, we lifted the ban.
Yeah, he lifted the band, but then he banned me right away, just like that. I don't get it.
I'm like a real life Facebook. So it's hot. You're gonna maybe hear the air conditioner.
Don't
so
get
for all you
zucked.
fucking snots out there that are just sitting there like, oh my god, the lighting and the position of the camera. We're trying to keep Chris's fucking junk off the fucking camera, right? We're trying to keep certain sounds out of the microphones. But more importantly, we're just trying to see ourselves on camera. I know this guy right here gets a stiffy every time he watches the show.
I love me.
He does. He loves him more than anyone.
I'm not that conceited at all. I am very
No, he's
empathetic.
not. No, he's not. He's not. He's actually kind of a swell guy sometimes.
Thank you, Peter.
That's as good as you're going to get from me, and you got to know that that's a fucking... Right? I do love you.
I got a hard week ahead of me. Be nice to me. I need it to be like a week from tomorrow.
It's a week from tomorrow?
And then I'll be like, good, yeah. I need it to be next weekend. We got to get to next weekend.
Not this weekend, but the weekend
Yeah,
after. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal right here on air, so it'll be on the fucking internet forever. I'll be nice. Stop looking at me in that chair. Look the other way. Look the other way. Okay. I will be nice to you.
Google over here. Look at her.
She just pulled her titty out. So, I will be nice to you. On one condition.
You really wore that white trash hat.
Yes, I did. I will be nice to you on one condition. You be nice to me.
I'm nice to you.
Motherfucker, you call me mashed potatoes.
These-
You fucking...
Mashed potatoes.
He sits there
These
and
guys are both nice to each other.
Yes, we are.
But it's just sometimes they get a little sensitive.
The first time I said that, it was about Jorge Soros.
How do you recall this?
I
Well,
said it before we ever did the podcast. I said it about him because if you ever see him, that fucker looks like a melting. He looks like a fucking pile of mashed potatoes.
Okay, so we're getting near the wrap up hour. So a quick synopsis is China's fucking evil.
Right,
Okay?
the Chinese Communist
China.
Party. When you hear us talk about the CCP, know that Beijing, the capital where the Chinese Communist. It's funny too that they're from China and they have that fake ass Congress with all they're dressed all in suits like the West, and it looks like the West, but secretly they just
Hate
want to
that.
flood the country with fentanyl and kill all the children.
See,
you know
when
what
you
I'm saying?
say when you say CCP, I was always thinking Chris, Creepy, and Pete. You are the creepiest dude that I know. Like, I wake up this morning and I see all your promo videos for the show. Like, you in a fucking bathtub. What are you doing?
It took me years to fucking harness this power. So
What power is that?
Digital
power of
power.
creepy and digital? Yes. Like holy shit, I got access to the interwebs. Hell yeah.
Who gave you that, by the way?
America.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, America.
So, in closing, Yusef, keep it off of dicks. What do you got for us? Get ready. Chris, get ready.
I'll turn you up a little bit.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. There's a very big situation going on in Israel right now between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and nobody cares to address that. But it's okay. You know,
Hold on one sec.
Russia, Ukraine, China. But that's what I'm trying to say. There's
Okay.
evil going on everywhere. But we are so just kind of, as America, we're just really, I don't know. I think that it's as if we're watching a magician and the magician's saying, look at this hand while he's doing all this other shit over here to pull the rabbit out the hat.
That's the way it's always been.
You know,
but
President-
let me bring up a point to you real quick, okay? So, And this is what I think kind of leads into some of the shit about people being called racist when they're not or whatever. So
America's not racist.
yeah, it is. My friend,
No,
not my friend,
compared
one
to
of
the rest
my,
of the world.
every
other country's more racist. Than
one
the United
of
States.
my biggest heroes on earth.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to agree or disagree. I'm just going to say okay. So, one of my biggest heroes in the world. He was a lyricist and musician in my favorite band. Right. He is very anti-Israel. He is not an anti-Semite. Okay, but he is trying to tell Israel, stay the fuck out of Palestine, right? He has very anti-Bibi Netanyahu views, right? Basically says that guy is a fucking racist.
Bibi's out. Bibi's out.
Who's in now?
I forget, but not.
Netanyahu will always be in.
Yeah, he's kind of.
He was there for 20 years, but he's out.
So was Putin, but damn, no, he's still there.
Okay, well, what I'm getting
Anyway,
at is
sorry.
that he's been very, he talks about how Israel's got bulldozers and they're pushing these people into the fucking sea, right? And he says they need to keep their fucking hands off of it, right? Leave them the fuck alone. He's not saying that, the Jews are bad or there's some Jewish conspiracy.
No, the Jews are not bad.
But he's saying that they need to knock that shit off. And what happens? He gets labeled a fucking anti-Semite.
Well, that's what you do is, like you said.
And this guy, by the way, Roger Waters is probably more liberal than any musician in the industry right now.
So what's the weapon today? You don't have to kill your enemy. You just have to discredit him.
You just have to get him to fight. But, President Joe Biden said, he had a line where he said that if Israel didn't exist, you'd have to invent it. Like, he's super pro-Israel. What did he mean when he said if Israel didn't exist, it would have to be invented?
So that's another topic there's a lot in that involves beyond politics, but religious ideals, ideology,
It's an outpost for the West militarily.
Always has been.
Right.
Always has been.
That's why Iran's nuclear scientist got shot up by a automatic machine gun.
Okay, so we're going to do one quick shout-out today to the namesake of the podcast, Jerry Teets, otherwise known as J Tits. He's out there. He's holding it down for all of us, right? He's a bright ray of fucking sunshine in a world full of darkness, right? I mean, he's just a lovable, sweet man, wouldn't you say, guys?
I love Jerry. If I had one cup of water left, I would give it to Jerry. Because you know what Jerry would do? He would give it to another person. That motherfucker, that piece of shit.
Jerry's bald head.
Jerry looks good, bro.
Jerry's head.
He looks good in a creepy way. Does that
Jerry's
make sense?
bald head what? Jerry's bald head what? Where are you going?
You want to lick it? I want to lick it.
What's it look like, Yusuf?
It looks like a big old dick. Maybe that's why I want to touch it all the time. I'm like, I got to touch his head.
So, for Yusuf and Chris, I'm Pete. Everybody have a good weekend. And remember...
hydrate.
Oh, and...
What?
Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother. Oh, yeah. All right, fuck off.
No, I'm busy tonight, actually.